Good morning. Saturday morning, June the 14th, 2020, and I thought that I would drop at least a little bit of a video just to kind of touch base with you and let you know where things are at. I basically started a few weeks ago, not very long ago, less than 30 days, a lifestyle change and intermittent fasting. Started about 17 days ago, and just really overall just wanted to kind of check in on a video and just let you know where things are going, where we're at, and how it's going. I'll be honest with you, the first few days, and I started this on the 20th of May. I had experienced some blood sugar readings that were just absolutely insane, just like off the charts, crazy, like what is going on. It had been a long time. Like, I am a very bad diabetic. I have been in the past anyway, and that I have had diabetes for 6 years, and I would go windows of years at a time and not check my blood sugar, which is not good. And then in the past year, my dad passed away in October, and I just kind of had this aversion to seeing a doctor. I'd spent so much time with him in the hospital and going to doctors, and I was just like, I don't want to go to a doctor. I had enough of my prescriptions. I just kind of let things float. I took my pills every day, but I wasn't checking my blood sugar. And certainly some of the stress and the upset that I had gone through basically caused me to make a lot of really bad choices. So the idea that things were okay just kind of was the pervasive thought. It's okay, everything's all right, it's business as usual. The truth is, it was anything but okay. It was really bad. And so I was running out of the medications, and I said, well, I need to go and at least visit the doctor, get some blood work so that he'll refill prescriptions. And I went to, yeah, Murphy, I hear you. I went to an endocrinologist for the first time, my dad's endocrinologist, as a matter of fact, and went ahead and established that relationship. He said, okay, well, let's get some blood work. He sent me out for the blood work, and I was like, gee, thanks, that's great, good times. And then it was business as usual again. Well, about a week and a half after the office visit, I knew that I had a 1-month follow-up, and so I said, well, this doctor's gonna want some blood work results, so let me go ahead and I'll at least start checking my blood sugar again. I take out the old trusty blood glucose monitor and dust it off, and weirdly enough, the battery still worked, and I checked my blood sugar in the evening, and it was several hours after dinner, and my blood sugar was 462. Scared me to death, to be honest with you. And I don't know what scared me worse, the fact that my blood sugar had been 462, or the fact that how many months had it been in those types of levels, or that kind of level, and I didn't even know about it. I wasn't checking blood glucose, and so any intelligent person would have run straight to the hospital probably. I guess we're all part of this COVID-19 pandemic, and so running to the hospital didn't seem to be the most intelligent choice for me right at that moment. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna try to take care of this myself. I drank a gallon of water because I know that water helps, flush a lot of those, sugars out of your body. I drank that gallon of water, and I waited an hour, and it had gone down to 310. And so I said, oh, well, this is still too high. So I went and took a really long walk, and I drank more water, and checked again, and it was in the 200-ish range, maybe 240, and I was better with that. So I said, okay, well, I'm gonna go to bed, and by the time I wake up, it should be a lot better. I woke up the next morning, and my fasting blood sugar after 10 hours no eating and 8 hours sleeping was 229, which that's not good. And so on the morning of 5/20/2020, I said, you know what, this has got to change. We got to do something. So immediately I did the things that I knew to do. And it was the things that I should have been doing all along: cutting the carbs, emphasizing proteins, emphasizing leafy green vegetables, getting away from anything that was a simple carb for sure, and minimizing even the complex carbohydrates, because I knew that that was really contributing to the overall sugar numbers. Basically, it turns out I'm allergic to carbohydrates. I didn't really understand that. My body just doesn't know how to process them. It doesn't work very well. So what I did was I plugged along in that vein for a good 8 days, and I saw results. I saw the numbers, my blood sugar numbers, going down. but not fast enough for me. It wasn't precipitous enough. And I'd already kind of been playing with this idea of intermittent fasting. I could probably qualify intermittent fasting a little bit for you. Intermittent fasting is basically a window of time where you don't eat. It's a designated period of fasting, and there's different ways to do that, of course. There is the 8-16 plan, where you would spend 8 hours as your eating window and 16 hours that you're not going to eat. Then there's the 5-2 plan, where you would spend 2 days fasting and 5 days eating, which to me as a diabetic, that was just, it didn't even, figure in. I didn't know how that would work. So I went with the 8-16 plan, which is basically I don't eat anything after 8 p.m. at night. And I try to have my dinner well before that, like eat my dinner by 6:30, so that I'm done with food for the day, and then I don't eat again until noon the next day. It's a window of time that allows my body to burn up all of my sugar stores and then begin to work on the fat stores. And that's really what a diabetic needs to do, is to lose the weight. At least type 2 diabetic needs to lose the weight so that they have less insulin resistance and they're better able to process the sugars overall. So I opted for that plan. And so 8 days into my lifestyle change, I went with this intermittent fasting thing. And I'm going to tell you, it was not cute for the first 3 days. It was not fun. I was hungry. You're going to get hungry, it's for sure. It didn't feel good. I was a grouch. I know I was very difficult to live with. But at about the 3-day mark, it just kind of changed. It was okay. I wasn't hungry anymore. Like right now, it's, right at about 8 o'clock in the morning, maybe a little after. I'm not hungry. I don't feel hungry. I don't really start getting hungry. I think my body kind of reset itself. I don't start getting hungry until about 11:30 in the morning. When I know that it's about lunchtime. So about 11:30, I'll go to the kitchen and I'll start putting my food together. One thing that's really important, and nobody ever told me this as a diabetic, but every time you check your blood glucose, wash your hands, please. If you have handled food, I was cutting tomatoes and all of this stuff, and all of these things had this latent sugar in them, and then I would check my blood glucose and my numbers would be off. Wash your hands with soap and water, generally warm soapy water. And I say warm because that gets the blood flowing in your hands, and then go immediately and check your blood glucose. Seems like a pain in the neck, but there's so many things that can affect the blood sugar reading whenever you're taking it. Make sure that you're washing your hands before you do that. It's not always about germs. It's about that sugar that might be on your hands. So make sure you're double checking that. So at 11:30, I'll prepare my food. I'll get it all ready, whether it's to cook a little something, warm something up, or prepare the salad, whatever it is. And I wind up with basically the food ready. I come back, wash my hands, take my blood glucose, and everything is pretty simple. Then at noon, I'm able to get my food, go ahead and eat. So I'm trying to time it that way, which is pretty good. Works out pretty well for me. And then the thing is, also, I'm not doing what I was doing the first time I tried intermittent fasting. That is, nothing for breakfast, and then at lunch, I'm eating a full plate of French fries and carbs and bread and all of that. That's not going to work. It doesn't work that way. You still have to eat healthy, and you got to eat reasonable portions. The whole idea is caloric restriction, carb restriction, and cutting it back. What I'm really doing, and I know this video is getting a little long, and I didn't plan for that, but what I'm really doing is basically kind of like a modified keto, in that I'm not completely eliminating carbs. My whole goal is not weight loss. My goal is basically to lower my blood sugar. I don't necessarily know that completely eliminating carbs is something that a diabetic should do. It's certainly not something that I have done. I may change my mind about that. I definitely have heard opinions to the opposite of that, but I do know that just in limiting my carbs to what I have, I've seen substantial changes in blood sugar, and I've seen a precipitous drop in overall glucose average. So it's been very beneficial. How have I limited? Basically, I have cut down my carb load to 25% of what I eat, whereas it used to be 75 to 80% of what I ate. So absolutely important. Also, cutting the cutting the simple carbohydrates out, which is anything that's an immediate sugar, like fruit juice or candy, cakes, cupcakes, that kind of thing. Those all fall into the realm of simple carbs. A lot of fruits. I eat some things which take a little more to digest. They're more of a complex carb, a lot more fiber. They make a much more sense, dietary speaking. But at any rate, that's really been the basis of what I've been doing, and the results have been pretty good. I've lost 16 pounds in that window from the 20th of May until today. I feel good. I have a lot more energy. I get moving a lot earlier. I'm not napping during the day, if you can believe that. I work from home right now because of the COVID-19 thing, and during the day, I'll be plugging along at work and start getting tired. I'll take my break, or at least this is what I used to do. I would take my break, about 10:15, and I'd take a 15-minute nap. And then I would get up and start working again. And then at lunch, I would take another nap. And then in my afternoon break, I would take another nap because I was that tired and that exhausted. I haven't had a nap in weeks. I mean, it's not something that I really need. It's not something that my body is craving like it used to because I have a lot more energy, a lot more drive. There's still a long way to go. My journey's got a lot more to it. I know I'm going to have to, ultimately get back to the gym. I'm still a little nervous about that with the COVID-19 thing, but exercise has got to play into this as well. But I just want to encourage you, if you're plugging into my blog, definitely just try it. I mean, I can't really offer you medical advice. I'm not a doctor, but I do know this has been the only substantive thing that's really changed anything in my life. I have struggled with my weight for decades. This is the only thing where I feel like I'm taking control. Intermittent fasting and drastically cutting carbs. It has been amazing in the course of just a few weeks, the changes that I've seen in my body, and I really think you'd see the same thing. But at any rate, thanks a lot for watching. I look forward to posting some more in the future, and hopefully we'll talk to you, help encourage you along the way. Have a good one.